Good day all, South African prepper here. So for this video's topic is the 4 types of preppers that I've met over the last 10 years in South Africa. Different types of preppers, and the reason why I decided to be part of the one grouping of preppers. So the first prepper that I met many years ago, and I know actually quite a few of them, are what we call the lone wolf prepper. Now this is the guy that is prepping on his own. Normally you would never suspect that he is preparing for a SHTF scenario. This is also the guy that has the idea that he will maybe bug out or bug in, and he'll be able to defend himself in a SHTF scenario. Now the second prepper I've met, and this type of prepper is almost the same as the lone wolf mentality prepper. This prepper is the grey prepper, or the grey man. So this is the guy that thinks that when the shit hits the fan, he will lay low, he'll be invisible, and he'll try to survive on his own. A lot of the times, these type of preppers think they're going to go out in the mountains or the woods and they're going to be able to survive on their own. And this is pretty much the characteristics of the lone wolf prepper as well. And then the third prepper, and this is a prepper I really dislike. I think this is an extremely bad type of prepper, and that is a prepper that only preps with firearms and ammunition. So he stores up as many firearms as he can get hold of, and as much ammunition that he can get hold of, and specifically for the reason that he thinks that he'll be able to use his guns to steal things from people. So he doesn't actually physically prep. He just is arming himself because he thinks he's going to be able to steal from anybody and everybody. And this is the type of prepper that I believe is the prepper that will actually die first. And then in South Africa we've got a fourth grouping of preppers, and this is the preppers that have decided to literally bug in. So they've decided that they're going to group inside a city or inside a hotspot. They will decide on a specific building. I know of a group in our area, they specifically will be going into a hospital, and they'll stick around and they'll defend themselves, and then they'll start cleaning out the city. Now I personally think this is most probably the worst decision that any South African can make, is to stay in any city in South Africa, because of the fact that all of our cities are surrounded by informal settlements. These are the poorest of the poor Africans living in them, and very poor white people as well, for a matter of fact. And these very poor people, as soon as the grant system fails them, or the power goes off and they don't get their monies to go and buy food, they will start to storm into the cities, and they will target specific people and groupings of people in order to actually get food. In my previous video I showed you how they looted trucks in South Africa, and truck looting in South Africa is, we make a joke about it, but it's almost like a sport. It happens every single day almost. So the fifth type of prepper, and this is the prepper that I am myself, and we've just made a conscious decision to be this kind of prepper, is the community prepper. So I belong to a community, in fact most probably the largest prepping community in South Africa, and most possibly one of the largest prepping communities in the world, possibly. If I look at the amount of legal radios we have and members we have, we're pretty big. So the reason why I decided to be a community prepper, let's call it a community prepper, is for the fact that when you decide to be a lone prepper or a grey prepper, you'll basically have to fend for yourself the whole time. Now we all need sleep, we all need to cook, we all need to make sure if we get injured, that we actually get looked after. And if you are in the category of a lone prepper or a grey prepper, you'll basically have no support structure. So within this prepping community, we have created a structure by which certain different individuals have different tasks. So our prepping has evolved from prepping foodstuffs and gadgets and gears and radios and all of those things, to a point where we have developed an exit strategy out of the cities, to a point where we are now, where we are actually starting to prepare for the aftermath of anarchy and SHTF in South Africa. Now, I made quite a few videos about the fact that SHTF scenario in South Africa is guaranteed. It's actually guaranteed. I'm driving through the cities now here, and I can tell you, sometimes it's not a nice place to be in. So our prepping has evolved from just staying alive to staying alive and being secured while we exit the hotspots in South Africa, to actually being able to sustain ourselves once or after the SHTF anarchy, grid down, collapse type of situation actually happened. And I'm very proud to be part of this group. We are working extremely hard to be able to survive once SHTF in South Africa, or the economy collapses, or whatever the case might be. And I think this is a very good tip for people that are prepping all over the world, because I sometimes think South Africa, we are leading if it comes to disasters, if it comes to crappy government, corrupt governments, if it comes down to poor service delivery, crime, unemployment. We're one of the leading countries in all of these categories, and I think because of that we've got the experience to actually talk about these things. And that's why we started doing these videos, because there's a lot of people everywhere in the world that is starting to realize that things are not going to go back to normal as it used to be before COVID. And people need to start prepping, and a lot of people have a lot of questions of how this works and so forth. So I'm extremely proud to be part of the community prepping, or a community of preppers, because of the way we have evolved over the years. Because whenever you talk about SHTF, whenever you talk about a collapse, the thought of losing everything, the thought of losing maybe half of your family or your friends is really not a very nice thought to have. But I must confess that being a prepper has actually, over the years, and especially last year, given us so much hope for the future, because we do know once everything has collapsed and nothing is, we don't have power, nothing is as it used to be, we actually will be able to survive, we will be able to rebuild. And I would like to urge preppers around the world that it is good to prep, it is extremely good to prep. But if you do prep, and I see a lot of channels in America, they are having topics about homesteading, and this is the same principle. It's just we've taken a little bit further, where we are anticipating a permanent collapse, and we need to prepare to be able to fend for ourselves in the aftermath of SHTF scenario, and we need to be able to sustain our families and look after our families, food wise, safety wise, and we would like to rebuild after everything has collapsed in South Africa. Guys, thank you very much for watching South African Prepper. Please like and share, please subscribe, and share with anybody that you think might find this enlightening, and it will help them. Thank you very much.